look at all these leaves. This is how I will be protecting all of my potted plants that I didn't get in the ground this year over the winter months. Hello my garden friends and welcome back. Today I will be insulating all of the plants that I was not able to plant over the summer months, and I'm going to do it the most affordable way. It's using the leaves right out of my backyard, but in a safe way. Okay, let's get started. So here's where I am sheltering all of the plants that I absolutely do not want to die over the winter months. Now I created kind of a little shelter area for them because I don't want that cold wind, especially the north wind, blowing into them and actually freezing them. I want to protect them. So if you have like a fence that you can place them against, if you have an elbow to your home, place them in that little elbow. Anywhere that's going to allow them to still get some rain, but keep them still open and airy, and keeping them a little bit more sheltered from all that harsh wind that you will get over the winter months. If you don't have cinder blocks, you can use plywood, you could use pallet boards, you could use even more leaves to mount around them. It's really not about the canopy because they are cold hardy. They're again zoned from 3 to 9. So it's not about the canopy, it's about the roots. Now, the reason why I am protecting these primarily is because they are all in containers. If the roots get really cold, then those plants are most likely going to die because those roots are going to be just way too cold to survive. So I could dig a hole, plant the whole pot and plant into the hole, and that would shelter them really well because they'll still get the rain, but I don't want to dig holes all over my yard. And so this is the next best thing. Now, mulch and bark are very heavy. They retain and hold on to moisture, and it's really great if they are already planted in the ground, then that's a great option. But while they're out in the elements like these, leaves are the most affordable way that you can do it because they are a good insulator, plus they have that airiness to them, so they allow that airflow. It doesn't smother them, and that is why I'm choosing leaves. I was going to add kind of a greenhouse effect over here, but I don't want a lot of moisture retention because I am putting them very close together to keep them nice and cozy, but I still want enough room, have that breathing room, so that they're not creating some kind of diseases or fungus or anything of the sort. It'll give them a lot of room to still breathe. The leaves will allow that also to give them that breathing room. So this is where I'm placing them, and I decided to do it in front of my greenhouse. It may not be the best choice because I do have grow lights in there because I'm supplementing my citrus trees with grow lights when we're getting a really cloudy day. And I'm noticing that on my Japanese maple tree is starting to get leaves. That is not something I want done. So I'm going to be pulling that one out. The idea is not to have them under a grow light, so keep that in mind. But see those little leaf buds? This is not something you want your trees that are supposed to go dormant to start creating. So what I have in here is I have a lot of Skyview macrophyllias over here. I've got a pinnacle hydrangea over here. I've got another pinnacle hydrangea in the back. I think it's a little lime punch. And then I have over here another Japanese maple. Then right here I have a tesso, blue tesso. I have some sedums over here. And then I have some Russian sage and some evergreen. Again, all of them are zoned from 3 to 9. They can handle the coldness. What we're doing here is protecting the roots. So I'm going to go ahead and start insulating them with When placing potted plants together to overwinter outdoors, this can increase the risk of mold and diseases spreading due to poor air circulation and damp conditions. To prevent this from happening, be sure to allow enough space between the pots and the leaves for air to flow freely between them. And amongst us, I also have a Carl Forster grass here too. Okay, so they have enough room around them that they can breathe. So now I'm just going to pile a bunch of leaves around it. So the whole goal in placing leaves to insulate your pots is not to compact it with leaves. You want these leaves to be very loosely around it, so you don't want to add a ton of them. You just want to create a wind barrier as well as an insulator, and you want it to be able to breathe. So what I am doing is I'm just loosely laying them over, because if I compact this and it snowed and it iced amongst rain, then I am creating a cold barrier and not an insulator, because nothing can filter through these leaves. By adding them very loosely, I am allowing for the rain to filter through into the ground, watering these plants, and not keeping this very cold leaves that are wet, creating a cold compact sleeve around there. So you kind of want to look at your plant as adding an insulator and not a blanket that's going to smother them. The other thing is I don't want any leaves inside my pots. So as I'm placing all of my leaves around each of these pots, I am going to avoid placing any of the leaves on top of it. Because if one of these plants here had some kind of disease, then you could potentially be inviting that into your other plants. And if there's any even on the leaves that I'm adding, I would be potentially adding that to my plant. So that is what you're trying to avoid. So what I'm doing now is that I've noticed that once I put the board on top of the cinder blocks, that one of my plants is much taller. So to prevent any damages to that plant from rubbing underneath the board, I am going to be elevating that board by adding bricks underneath that, just to allow enough space between the plant and the board. Okay, this is going to work. So now all of my plants here are protected from the grow light. They're not going to end up thinking that they need to bud out, but rather go dormant for the rest of the winter. Now I still am keeping them wide open so that they are exposed to the elements, because that is what they naturally would go through. But I am protecting them because they are in pots, as I mentioned. Now I have my board down here that is going to protect them from any cold south winds hitting those pots. I have all of my leaves in place where they're going to get that nice, cozy, goose down blanket and not be compacted with leaves, so that they're not having that cold, wet blanket that's going to freeze over the winter months and just freeze those roots. So yeah, this is the key, is keeping the pots far enough apart where they're not gonna cross-contaminate each other from any type of pathogens, whether it's on the leaves or in the plant themselves, and far enough where they're gonna get that nice airy breathing room that they deserve, but yet being protected over the winter months. So this is my setup. Let me know what your setup is on how you are keeping your potted plants warm for the winter. And I really appreciate you watching. Love you. Thank you. And I will see you guys on the next project. It is late as always. Good night.